When business owners hear ADA compliance, they usually think of physical things first, like ramps, accessible parking, automatic doors, accessible restrooms, or service animals. Most don't ever consider their website. If you own a business, gone are the days of your website just being a marketing tool. It is the #1 way people access your business. And according to the Americans with Disabilities Act, your website must be usable by everyone. So in this video, we're going to talk about what ADA compliance means for your website, where WCAG fits in, and why website accessibility is much bigger than just a few of the common issues you hear people mention online. The ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act, is a civil rights law in the United States that is about equal access for people with disabilities. When we bring that into the website world, what we're really asking is, can they easily navigate it? Can they read it? Can they fill out and submit a form? And can they find what they need? That could mean someone using a keyboard instead of a mouse. It could mean someone using a screen reader. It could mean someone who needs captions on a video. Or it could mean someone with low vision who needs strong color contrast and clear text, among a whole lot of other ways that people use assistive technology to interact with online content. Digital accessibility is about making sure that everyone can access your business online, regardless of how they use their devices. So if they run into barriers, that means they don't have equal access and you need to fix your website. Most of us are used to things like accessible entrances and automatic doors. Those features are especially important to people in wheelchairs and others with disabilities that need them. But they also make life easier for everyone else too. If your hands are full of shopping bags, if you're pushing a stroller, or if you're trying to manage a cart and wrangle up your kids, those automatic doors help you too. Website accessibility works in a very similar way. The changes may be necessary for some people, but they often make the experience easier, clearer, and smoother for everyone. So yes, accessibility is about compliance and inclusion, but it also just creates a good user experience. Now let's talk about WCAG. WCAG stands for the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. WCAG is not part of the ADA itself. It's the technical standard that most people use to measure whether a website is accessible or not. We're not going to go deep into WCAG in this video because that deserves its whole own breakdown. I just want you to understand the difference. ADA sets the legal requirements, at least here in the United States. Many parts of Europe have similar standards like the EAA or the European Accessibility Act. So those set the laws, while WCAG are the guidelines or the benchmarks on how to fulfill the law. So when people say, is my website ADA compliant? What they usually mean is my website accessible enough to align with WCAG and reduce my legal risk? It is also important to know that depending on what type of business you have, where your business operates, and where your customers are, there may be additional state, local, or country accessibility requirements in play. Now, you might notice we don't talk a lot around here about the legal risks of having an inaccessible website. That's because we don't believe in leading with fear. We believe that the more people learn about the importance and the benefits of creating accessible digital content, the more likely they are to take action to ensure their brand is up to snuff. That said, legal complaints and demand letters are a very real thing, and they are not something business owners should ignore. And you really do not want to wait until you get a demand letter to take this seriously. At that point, you're not just paying to fix your website, you're dealing with stress, urgency, and very expensive legal costs that could have all been avoided. So let's talk a little bit about what actually goes into making your website and other digital content accessible. When people first start learning about website accessibility, they usually hear about a few of the same things over and over, like color contrast and alt text. Those things are important. And they are often some of the first things that people can start checking and oftentimes fix themselves. But to make sure a website is truly accessible, it's important to understand that accessibility does not stop with the commonly discussed issues. There are a lot of other pieces involved. Some are more technical than others, and many can easily be missed if you don't know what to check for. For example, forms are a major one. A form may look perfectly fine visually, but if the fields are not labeled appropriately, if the instructions are not clear, or if error forms are not set up correctly, people can get stuck very quickly. And for a business website, that matters. Because if someone cannot submit your contact form, book an appointment, or complete a checkout, that is lost business. PDFs are another area that get overlooked. A lot of businesses share pricing guides, intake forms, brochures, menus, or downloadable resources as PDFs. But if those documents are not built accessibly, they can be completely impossible for people with screen readers, keyboard navigation, or Zoom tools to use at all. Video and audio content matter too. More businesses are leaning on video and audio content for marketing and training purposes. You may already be aware that in order for this type of content to be accessible, captions and transcripts need to be available. Audio descriptions also need to be considered for certain types of content. And how about the controls? Oh, and don't forget your thumbnails and podcast art. Moving on, there's also the structure of the website itself to consider. Things like headings, landmarks, lists, buttons, links, and page structure all help assistive technology understand the page. A website can look great on the front end, but if the structure underneath is not set up correctly, it can still be confusing or unusable for people using assistive technology. Third-party tools also need to be discussed. Booking systems, pop-ups, chat tools, payment platforms, or maps. Even if your main website pages look good, one inaccessible third-party tool can still create a major barrier for your customers. Other things that would be reviewed during a website audit would be readability, resizing and reflow, motion, sensory characteristics, keyboard accessibility, timed elements, navigation operability, and a whole lot more. Now, a lot of that might have sounded totally foreign to you, and that's okay. But now you understand that accessibility isn't about fixing just a few visual issues. It is about making sure your website works for everyone, regardless of the tools they need to use to do so. It includes the content, the structure, the forms, the documents, the media, the code behind the scenes, and how all of those pieces work together. No plugin, overlay, badge, or 5-second scan can guarantee that your website is fully accessible. It takes a much more complete review, and that's what we can help you with. We offer audits, remediations, and user testing for small to mid-sized businesses. We take on all the complicated stuff while you focus on running your business. And I'll tell you a little secret, the cost is probably way more affordable than you would think. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, check the description below for links on how to get in touch. In the meantime, if you'd like to learn more easy tips on how to make your content more accessible, check out this video YouTube thinks you will like. And don't forget to check the description and sign up for our newsletter so you can get this information dropped right in your inbox.